Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. It's so great to have you here. I really hope you're having an amazing day. So today we have some pretty big Star Wars news. We're going to be talking about the Ahsoka show, Andor Season 2, but we're going to start with some huge news for the 2025 Star Wars film. This was one of the 3 announced at Star Wars Celebration, the one about Rey Skywalker, whatever you want to call her, rebuilding the Jedi Order. The new Jedi Order 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker, directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Well, according to John Rocker on the Hot Mic podcast, John Boyega, who plays Finn, is returning to Star Wars for the film. Finn reportedly has a huge role to play, and fingers crossed they're finally going to make him a Jedi. Now this is massive, and I mean really massive, because Kathleen Kennedy at Star Wars Celebration mentioned that some of Rey's friends, and these include Poe, Finn, Rose, etc., might make cameos when appropriate, so now it sounds as though one of these is going to be Finn, at least according to this rumour, but as always, take it with a pinch of salt. I thought he was hands down one of the best characters in the Sequel Trilogy, and from the moment we saw him in the Force Awakens teaser trailer, the fandom got so excited about the story of a defected stormtrooper, but to our dismay, he was pushed aside in a big way. His character deserved better, so I really hope this is going to be John's big comeback. And the second update from the podcast is that pre-production on the film begins in August, still set for a 2025 release. And apparently a major actor dropped out when Damon Lindelof walked away. We don't know who, but that's all they said. So share your thoughts on this in the comments down below. And so now guys, onto Andor Season 2. Lucasfilm has shared an official press release, confirming the 7 main cast members that feature in the next 12 episodes in Season 2 recurringly. Now there are some big characters that you're going to notice are not on this list, but that doesn't mean they're not in Season 2, and we know this because they featured in the footage at Star Wars Celebration that was exclusive to those in the room. So let's start with the titular character himself, Cassian Andor. Also serving as executive producer, Diego Luna is of course in the spotlight, back in action for the second season, continuing the story of Cassian Andor before the events of Rogue One, and of course in this season, he's going to be adventuring with Luthen, but Stellan Skarsgård is not on the list. As I say, he was part of the exclusive Celebration footage, so no need to worry, Luthen is a big part of this. Next up, we have Adria Arjona's Bix Colleen. In the first season, she lost her boyfriend Tim and had to stand up to the Empire before being tortured. Cassian was her hero, and the exclusive footage at Celebration shows the two of them kissing, so there's going to be romance there, and the romance doesn't stop because we're also going to get some scenes with Cinta and Vel, but they're not on this list unfortunately. Next up though, we have Dedra Meero, played by Denise Gough. After being one of the core antagonists of Season 1, Season 2 will show us the return and promotion of the Lieutenant Supervisor within the ISB, as she seeks more power, as many of them do, within the Empire. Our next main character who's going to have such a big role in this second season is Mon Mothma. Aside from defecting from the Senate and subsequently maybe a divorce from Perrin, she also has to handle the marriage of her daughter Leda, and those scenes are believed to have been shot on Chandrila, but this is just a rumour. A big surprise following Star Wars Celebration is that Kino Loy, Mr. I Can't Swim, survived. That's right, Andy Serkis is back in the role and confirmed for Season 2, taking part away from Narkina 5 as part of the early rebellion. Now everyone's favourite serial enjoyer Cyril Khan is back. One of the most awkward and horribly authoritarian driven character is back, and more obsessed than ever with Dedra Meero. In one scene from the trailer, he's combing his hair preparing for a date. Did she say yes? Following their awkward encounter in episode 12 where Cyril saves her life? I think she might have done. Next up we have the son of a Ferrix rebel legend, Wilman Pack, who starred in 5 episodes of Andor Season 1, living on Ferrix, helping Andor and the crew, and following the legacy of his father Salman Pack. He took part in episode 12 in the uprising on his planet, and I think he's going to be fantastic as the war against the Empire rages on. Next up, another Ferrix favourite, Brasso, played by Joplin Sibtain. Those are the only ones confirmed by Lucasfilm in their press release, but many more new and returning faces are going to feature in Season 2 as well. As I said, Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen, Clea Marquis Saw Gerrera, Vel, Cinta, and many more. Super exciting stuff. And so now my dear friends, onto Grand Admiral Thrawn, one of the most intelligent, underrated characters from Star Wars Legends, who of course featured in Star Wars Rebels, voiced by Lars Mikkelsen, who's returned for the Ahsoka show, playing him in live action. I would say that Thrawn is one of the most complex characters with a sense of honor, but he's also a strategist and thinker. The irony of him being a big bad is his disdain for unnecessary cruelty, which we do see more in the canons on books than those from the expanded universe. This art aficionado is a master of psychological warfare, using his opponent's weaknesses against them. He rarely shows strong emotion, you never see him lose his temper, and if you thought Moff Gideon was clever, this man is a genius. While Lars Mikkelsen has given a rather interesting interview, which does give us a lot of insight into what we can expect when the Ahsoka show drops. This is super interesting, I promise you're gonna love it. In case you weren't at Star Wars Celebration when he appeared in the Ahsoka trailer, and then again in the extended footage, the crowd went wild. And even as you were walking around the venue, throughout the day they showed the Ahsoka trailer on various screens, everyone was pumped the minute we saw the back of his head. It's a perfect casting, he's got the swagger, the pizzazz, the voice, the attitude, and he was Dave Filoni's #1 pick. Even Dave says there was no one else for the role but Lars. But this interview with Collider shed some light on what we can expect from the show, most notably the fact that there's going to be no answers until the final scene. So we're going to see a lot of Thrawn's plan, that's going to weave into Morgan Elsbeth, also Pelion, and others around the galaxy building his fleet in the New Beyond, which is an unknown part of the galaxy. But let's see what Lars says.
What surprised you about Dave's writing of the character and of the entire series that perhaps you weren't expecting?
Oh, can I talk about that without revealing anything? I mean, his writing is very good. It's very strong. And all characters are, have their own drive. You will probably not know totally what's it all about until that very last scene. And I like that. Take your, you as an audience so seriously that you can think for yourself. That we drag it right to the last moment.
He's got such a cool accent, such an awesome cadence. His voice is amazing, but I could listen to Lars' voice all day. He's got a very smooth way of talking, which really does justice to the mastermind that Thrawn is. He's always 7 steps ahead, as Lars has said in the past. And to know that he, as well as Ivana Sakno, they're praising Dave Filoni's writing, it must mean this is a strong show. Of course they have to say that, they have to praise it, but it's nice to know they have confidence in some of that writing. And we do know there's going to be a clever structure to the show. Everything comes together and makes sense at the end. So you're shown a lot of things, you're told a lot about Thrawn's plans, about what he's up to, building the fleet, and there will be times as an audience we're going to be a bit confused, but that's okay. But in the last scene, it's all going to come together. That's interesting. I think the questions from Collider to all of these artists, all of these actors, have been phenomenal. And as I say, Lars' Danish accent, it's just beautiful for this.
He's always the smartest guy in the room, and whatever you think he's thinking, he's 5 moves ahead of you.
Exactly.
So what is it actually like playing someone like that who is the smartest one in the room?
I mean, that's what you want as an actor. Yeah, you don't want to reveal everything. You want your secrets, and when it's within the script, it's the best. Yeah, because you don't. It's effortless in that sense. Yeah, you can. You can only play the moment then. You don't have to push anything because the story writing is so good that it'll tell it for you.
That's very reassuring to hear, and I do get a sense, based on some of the things Lars said at Celebration in his interview then, and also here, that he's familiar with Zahn's work. And it's kind of like when Natasha was saying she watched Star Wars Rebels over and over again, she did her research, she got in the head of that character, really understood the motives, the emotions, the past, her past as a Mandalorian, the relationship, the friendship she had with Ezra Bridger. I think it's similar with Lars, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's like an OG fan of Heir to the Empire and tried reading some of those books. But just having Timothy Zahn on set, consulting for Thrawn, would have given him a lot more information, so I think that's probably very invaluable as an actor, and we're going to see that when the show drops in August. Now of course Lars voiced the character back during Star Wars Rebels, so maybe a lot of the research from him was done back then, but you do get a very good sense he knows his character so well.
Of those episodes, which one do you have a favorite episode of the first season?
Don't think I can tell you.
Sure, I'll move on to something. My one other thing.
He's not going to tell us, but what seems to be a recurring answer with all of these is that the first episode is very strong. The premiere is very strong, and very similar to the Bad Batch Season 1, which Dave Filoni oversaw, and then he pretty much didn't do any other Bad Batch episodes, but he knows how to tell a story right from the outset, how to make it interesting, draw fans in, so I'm very hopeful for that first episode, even though Lars won't say which one is his favourite. Very interesting stuff, guys. Share your thoughts in the comments down below.